Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it's time, well, it's almost time, to once again watch Celtic in action. It's felt like an eternity, but we're nearly there. Tomorrow morning, Celtic take on Yokohama F. Marinos in Japan. Oh, it's going to be exciting. All of that, and a new third kit to discuss as well, so yeah, let's talk about that. As always, if you haven't already, make sure to go down below, hit like and subscribe. The support on the channel recently has been fantastic. Some very kind comments surrounding the content as of late. So I appreciate that. Keep that up. But first of all, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. So then, Celtic take on Yokohama F. Marinos tomorrow in their first televised pre-season friendly game of the campaign, as we aim to get ourselves into shape, into condition, to go for 3 in a row this season. Of course, Yokohama F. Marinos, the former team of Dyson Maeda and our former manager Ange Postecoglou. A bit of a connection between the two clubs there, and a match that has been prepared and looked forward to for a number of months now. Way back when we announced that pre-season tour of Japan, this is one that the Japanese fans especially have been excited for, and even us as Celtic fans have been excited for. A nice change for us, you know, something a little bit different. Nice to watch the team in different conditions, playing against different opponents, and of course it's our first real bit of football we'll get to see under Brendan Rodgers in this second spell as manager. We did take on Portimonense in those behind closed door friendlies, but they were untelevised. There was no way of seeing them, whereas tomorrow the lights are out, the cameras are out, we'll be able to watch the game. So I'm very, very excited. There's going to be a lot to talk about as we prepare for the game tomorrow. But it'll just be great to watch Celtic again. Here's all the details that you need then for us over here on these shores. An 11 AM kickoff live on Celtic TV. So make sure to get that sorted one way or another. And you can watch the game. And it's obviously in the Nissan Stadium. A cracking big stadium over in Yokohama, the home of the opposition. It's a good journey for the Celts, a different stadium to play in. I'm sure it's one of those ones that, you know, might not be on your bucket list, but once you've played in it, you wish it would have been, because it looks a cracking venue, and I think it's one that we should be, you know, really thriving to play in. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow. A lot of factors to weigh up. After all, it's only a friendly game for us. Meanwhile, they're mid-campaign. So, you know, it might be an interesting watch. It might be a bit of a slog to watch. Who knows? But nonetheless, it's Celtic, and you know we need to start somewhere to get ourselves into shape for this upcoming Premiership campaign. So I am very excited. But ahead of that, the players, the manager have been preparing. They've been commenting in the media. A couple of media events set up over there in Yokohama. So let's have a look at what Brendan Rodgers said ahead of his game tomorrow against F. Marinos. So Brendan Rodgers, of course, extended his thank yous to the people of Japan, saying he was very happy and very privileged to be there in Japan. He also went on to say, we're also glad to be here when we have our Japanese players, and to be able to bring Celtic Football Club to Yokohama is very special for them and for us. Our pre-season is our fitness, and we are playing a fantastic team that is coached so well by Kevin Muscat and his staff. It is the perfect game for us at this stage of our preparation. That was some of his comments. I think that if you dig deep enough on Twitter, you'll probably be able to find the full extended press conference if you want to watch it in its entirety. But let's talk a little bit about, you know, the match tomorrow, the team we're playing, and what we should maybe expect to see in that match. So the opposition currently sit second in the J-League. They are tied at the top of the table, really, but they lie behind Vissel Kobe on goal difference. They're having a very good campaign as they look to go and win the league title again under Kevin Muscat. They've got a very entertaining team, a very good team, and I think one of the main considerations you've got to take into tomorrow is the fact that, you know, our level of fitness against theirs. Not saying that we are unfit, not ready to go, but they are midway through a campaign. They've played 21 games this season in the league. You know, they've played a lot of football. They're right in the middle of very competitive games, whereas we're coming in here really just to get ourselves going for our competitive games. So there will be a big difference in that front, even though we've been training now in Lennoxtown for a couple of weeks. We were over in Portugal in the warm weather camp. You will probably see a slight difference with us kind of getting up to speed, getting used to things, whereas they'll probably be a well-oiled machine. So it'll be interesting to watch that, and I hope it's one of these ones that people don't start to throw the toys out the pram if we do look a little bit off the pace. You know, I take my mind back to a couple of years ago, especially when Ange Postecoglou first came in. I remember we were playing some pre-season friendly games against a number of English teams, including that game against West Ham where they absolutely battered us. And you'd think that we'd just finished rock bottom of the league table the way that some people were acting. People were throwing their toys at the pram, losing their marbles. Listen, these are friendly games, and I've tried to make this as evident to you guys over the last few years on this channel, and I'll say it again once now. I couldn't care less how a friendly game ends. It's a glorified training session. It's to get players back up to speed. When the results start to matter, that's when I'll start to care. So I don't really care how it goes tomorrow. Obviously, I want to see us win, but you won't see me on YouTube crying and screaming and roaring and greeting about it. Ultimately, I hope we go out there and win the game, but, you know, they've got a good team right now. The man to look out for then, who's going to cause the most damage? Well, this man here on screen now, Anderson Lopez, the league's top scorer in the J-League right now, 15 goals in those 21 league games. He's turning it up. That's the guy to look out for. How will the centre-halves handle him? Remember, we don't have Cameron Carter-Vickers tomorrow, so whoever does start the game at centre-half will have their hands full with him. A couple of other great players through, a couple of Brazilians in that team, in fact, to look out for tomorrow morning. But, you know, obviously on our side, it'll be interesting to see how we go about it. Will it be one of those games we start on 11, then at half-time we change it to a completely other 11? I expect to see minutes for most players in our squad, but also it might be a big indication as to who's staying around at Celtic and who'll be part of that trimming that Brendan Rodgers spoke about in the media. You know, he said he was going to trim down the squad. Who's going to be part of that? Maybe we'll get an indication over these next few friendlies, so keep a keen eye on who comes on and who features in the game tomorrow. And Shinsuke Nakamura, he's been part of the preparations. He was part of one of the fan events today. I was about to say fan media events. One of the fan events today in Yokohama. He was out with the Japanese boys, and I just love it. The photos go really hard. They are proper iconic. I love it. Kyogo, Hatate, Maeda, Nakamura. It's just brilliant. You know, it takes me right back. You know, Nakamura is probably one of the first players I remember in my lifetime when I started getting conscious of what I was watching with Celtic, and he's an absolute legend. So seeing him involved in the club to any capacity is always fun. So those photos this morning were brilliant. And finally, on that note, if you are watching the game and you're watching it alone and you fancy a bit of company, well, I may as well announce it right now. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing a live watch along as usual for the friendly games every year. I like to do one or two of them. Just a bit of a laugh. Don't worry, I won't be Mark Goldbridge in it. I won't be banging my table. Won't be throwing controllers. Just sit down, have a chat, answer your questions, watch the game. So if you want to check that out, it'll be going live tomorrow just before kick-off. Keep an eye out and you'll see more details. Talking about Brendan Rodgers very quickly, a lot of people have been asking about the transfer business. We touched on it yesterday with the squad that we have right now, who will stay, who will go. You can check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. But Brendan Rodgers has spoke more on the business that is planned for Celtic, and he's kind of spoke on those concerns that some people are having with the signings we're making. A lot of people want us to go out and spend big, sign £9-10 million players, but Brendan Rodgers has decided to comment on that. So let's very briefly look at his comments. The Daily Record reported this. Brendan Rodgers said, yeah, there's money there, but it doesn't always mean you need to spend £9 million or £10 million to get a top player. There might be someone within your academy or someone at £2-3 million who can become a £20 million or £30 million player. My strength is development, and I've worked closely with the people here to improve the squad. The club is in a great position, and there is a great model here. Obviously, you can't say he's wrong. His first tenure here as Celtic manager, he done a far greater job at improving the players within the club than probably recruiting players to come in. And yeah, the recruitment wasn't solely down to him, but you look at the players he did improve, the players that he made into the stars that they've become: Kieran Tierney, Stuart Armstrong, You know, guys that were already there, Callum McGregor, guys who were already within the club, he turned them from bit part players into players who've either went on, like McGregor, to captain the club and be our best player, or go on for big moves. Kieran Tierney for £25 million, Stuart Armstrong, who got a big move to Southampton. He's good at developing. So these guys who are coming in for £2-3 million that people are going, oh, they're not good enough. Let Rodgers work with them. Let Rodgers develop them. I'm very excited to see what he can do with them. But he has said that business will happen. You know, there's not stopping. Don't worry. This is what Rodgers said on that front. He said it was only fair to assess the squad first. Coming in, there was already positions I felt we could improve on, but we're in a period of assessment right now. What we have done is try to plan for the future with some of the signings that have come in. And it's what I've been saying all week. And I think if you look at every single video or live stream that I've done over the past 7 days when I've addressed some of the concerns in regards to recruitment thus far, I've said the same thing. He's barely been in the door. He's barely been with the team. He's got to assess what he has in front of him, and it's nice to see him back me up on that. Thanks, Brendan. I appreciate it. And finally, to end off today's video, there's a new shirt in town. Celtic have officially released the third kit. We have already seen it before. It was leaked a couple of months ago, but it's officially released, been shown on the players and all the rest of it. There's some nonsense behind the story. I'm going to quickly go and look at what the story is behind it and read it out. From Glasgow to you, inspired by the bright, vibrant lights of our city's famous music scene. Birthday cared pish. It's interesting. It's something a bit different, and I suppose that's what the third shirt is there for. It's one to experiment with. You know, green and white hoops is set. The away one, you have a bit of room to do something, but the third shirt really is the kind of one that they can go all out and be adventurous with, and I guess that's exactly what they've done this season. Am I a fan of it? It's okay. I don't think it's awful, and I don't think it's great either. I just, you know, it'll do. I think this is probably the most disappointing year for kits as a set, home, away and third. I'm not really particularly overwhelmed by any of them. The away one probably the standout. But aye, there you go. We've got all 3 kits for this season. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And that does it. Thank you. That'll do it for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be very appreciated. And let me know how you're feeling about the game tomorrow. Mind, we'll be live. We'll be doing a live stream. So if you're not working or you're off or whatever and you want a wee bit of company, then you know where to go. I'll see you then. See you next time.